Hello everybody, today we're doing a video for GTA Car Kits in a Jaguar F-Type Convertible. We already filmed this car, but it was a coupe version and many people asked us for a convertible because the installation is a bit different. So today we're going to show you how to install our Apple CarPlay and Android Auto kit. As you can see, it's already installed into this car and it's been paired to our iPhone wirelessly. You can also pair it to your Android phone wirelessly, and you can control the system with the original controls of the Jaguar system. So nothing gets disabled except the original navigation. So we can switch back to the original by pressing the home button. And as you can see, for navigation now it's empty because it's been replaced by our kit. And you press here and we have Apple CarPlay, and if you pair your Android phone, Android Auto would show up here. So if you have the original view camera, it will still work and show up on your screen. And you can also add an aftermarket camera if your Jaguar didn't come with the original camera from the factory. And now we're going to show you how to install it into this particular car. So the tools you're going to need are your panel removal tools. This is the standard panel removal tool. This one has end, which is going to be used to remove some clips. This is our hook tool. You're also going to need a T20 Torx. And because this car is a convertible, you're going to need a 13mm socket with an extension. And of course, you're going to need our product. So we opened the convertible top of this Jaguar and we move the passenger seat towards the front. So first thing we're going to do is open up this pocket, and there are two clips inside, and we're going to use our panel removal tool to get underneath and remove these two clips. Now we need to remove these speaker / subwoofer covers. So we'll start on the passenger side. We're going to start with the top. So we first unclip the top, then there's one more clip here, and then we gotta do these ones on the inside, and then the panel comes off. And behind here you're gonna see 4 bolts. So there's 2 here and 2 over here, and we're gonna use our 13mm socket with an extension and start removing them. As you can see, the bolts that are towards the outside of the car, they just come out, but the ones that are closer to the inside of the car, they come out together and they stay within this metal bracket. Before continuing to the driver's side, we're going to just remove the wind deflector, and on the passenger side we will lift up and remove the rollover bars. As you can see, there are clips here, so there's no way to just clip them down. You just pull it up straight and it will come out. And here, another thing, in order for this panel to come out, you have to unclip this seatbelt piece here. So this side is now done. We can move over to the driver's side. It's the same thing on the driver's side. We're first gonna have to remove the cover, and we'll start by removing it and unclipping it at the top. Take it out. Same thing, there are 4 bolts to remove. And here's the same thing with this metal bracket, so these 2 bolts will come out together. Now we will unclip here and we'll straight up lift up this piece. So now with everything removed, and we removed the 2 clips inside of here, now the whole panel can be lifted up and removed. So you just lift it up. And behind here, on the inside, so on the inside you're going to see there's one connector which you have to disconnect. So just press on the clip and disconnect it. And now you can remove the entire panel. And if you look inside of here, this is our head unit. That's where we're trying to get to. This is our head unit. So at the back here, you're gonna see this is the main connection, the gray one here. That's the one that we're gonna connect our harness into. So now we need to remove this side piece right here, the same way we did in the coupe version of this car, in order to feed our wires through. And we will start in the middle. Just use your panel removal tool and start unclipping it. And once it's unclipped, just work your way down towards the front. And then the last clip here behind the seat, we will unclip that one. And now you can lift up this panel and move it away. So now we can continue, and we're going to start removing everything around the screen. We will remove this piece on top of the screen. So you just get in here carefully and pop it out. And it's just held on clips. Now we're going to use this hook tool and carefully get underneath here and into this opening, so you can pop this panel out. Once it's out, you can use your fingers. Again, it's just held on 4 clips. Next is this trim around that holds the start button and the 12-volt socket. So you're going to start at this edge, and once it pops out, carefully maneuver it out, and we will disconnect the 12-volt socket. There's a clip here, and then we will also disconnect our start button. So with everything removed, now we can get to the bolts that hold everything. So there are 2 on top here. Now there's 2 more down here, and there's 2 more right there. So 6 total. They're all use our T20 Torx, and we're gonna remove all of them now. So the first thing that you can remove is the HVAC panel. Just pull it out, maneuver it out, and there is a connection at the back here, which you have to press the clip in order to disconnect it. Right here on the side. There you go, this is the clip that I was pressing. This trim now can come out, and there's 1 more connection here. Again, press on the clip and disconnect. So there are 4 more bolts that we have to remove. Again, they're T20s, so there are 2 on each side of the screen. So now we're going to show you what comes inside our kit and everything that we're going to be connecting today. So you have your general diagram for all the wiring. You have your main module, which we're going to hide on the side of the passenger behind the carpet there. And then you have your USB cable, which also is going to be hidden on the passenger side. So this is our main harness. So this end will go into our module. Then the gray ends, there's the small type of plug. This will go behind the screen, and this big plug will go all the way at the back where we removed the whole panel between the 2 seats. This is connected to the head unit. Then you have your wireless antenna. And the last piece is this wire that we also need to connect at the back of the screen, and then the other end will go into our module. So as we mentioned before, this blue end of the video cable and this smaller end of the harness, they have to go up here. We will bring them up, and they have to end up behind this screen on top. So we'll start with bringing them up. There's an opening here, and we will put these wires through, and I'm using my other hand, if you can see around the screen, to catch these wires on the inside. You can now remove the screen. So as you can see, I'm pulling these wires through, and now I have them at the back of the screen. First, you will grab the screen and you will disconnect the original blue wire. So this will disable your original navigation, and it will get replaced by our kit. So you plug in our wire instead. And then this gray wire, you disconnect the original one. Then we're gonna grab the one that came from our harness. We will plug in ours instead, and then the original one will plug in here. So neatly tug these wires, and now you can put the original screen back. So over here you end up with the video wire. This is the cable that will plug into the module, our antenna, and the USB. So this all stays here, but now we have this main wire that we need to run all the way to the back and connect it at the head unit. So carefully feed the wire through, and take your time when you're doing this. Make sure that there's enough space so you can reach the back. So over here we have our harness, and if you look inside, we showed you already the gray connector right there. You're gonna press it, the clip on it, and disconnect it. That's the original one. So we'll take our connection and plug it in instead. Make sure you plug it in all the way, and then you'll take the original one and that gets plugged in into our harness. So we're going to start doing all the connections to our module. So we will plug in the harness, then we will plug in our video cable. On the other end you have the USB, so we'll plug in this end, and then you have the wireless antenna, and the whole module and the wires will be hidden right here. So we will remove this original piece of foam and carefully take your time. You will move the carpet and neatly put all the wires in so they get hidden. The antenna we suggest to keep away from the module. So again, we'll grab the antenna and you can route it towards the front of the car so it's away from the module. F-Type didn't come originally with the rear view camera. We have the appropriate RCA cables to add rear view camera and the power wires for a camera. So just keep that in mind. And then the only thing that should be visible is this USB cable. So now before assembling everything back, we need to test everything. So in order to test the system, we need to connect a few things. So we will connect this panel around, that goes around the screen. So if you don't have these things connected, then the system in general might not behave properly. So for testing, you have to connect these things. So we have the HVAC connected and we have this panel connected, and now we also connected our start button. So we just popped it out of the panel that we removed from here and we just connected it. So we're gonna turn on the ignition of the car. So you gotta make sure that everything turns on. Now we will check to see that the touchscreen is working. So the touchscreen is working. So we're gonna set the original system to auxiliary. That way you're gonna be able to hear stuff from CarPlay and AndroidAuto. And we will go back to home, and as you can see here, the navigation is now empty and it's been replaced by our kit. So in order to enter our kit's mode, you can press here or the nav button. As you can see, now you have an extra mode which you didn't have before. So now we will take our iPhone and connect it by the wire. So first we're just testing. We're gonna see that it charges, so that's good, and we will see if CarPlay will launch. So once we unlocked it, CarPlay launched. So then once you tested everything, you can also pair the system wirelessly through the settings of our kit. So we'll just test the sound to make sure that the sound is working. So the sound is working, the touchscreen is working. You can also check the original review camera. So at this point we're gonna shut everything off and we will assemble everything back. So we're gonna start with putting the bolts back that hold the screen in. So all the bolts that we removed today, they're all same length, so you don't need to worry about which bolt goes in where. They all are T20 Torx and they're all same length. Next come the buttons around the screen. Just make sure to connect it and put the panel in. And now we need to, before putting any of the bolts, we need to put back the HVAC. And it has to line up with these guide clips right here. And once you made sure that all the bolt holes line up, all 6 of them, now we can put all 6 bolts back. So once you clip these in, you can put the panel back and first clip it in at the front and then work your way down. And this panel just goes on and clips in, and then this one. So we're just gonna carefully maneuver this panel in and line it up with the holes and start clipping it in. As I mentioned before, you can adjust the length of the USB cable and how much it comes out. So we're gonna start putting this piece in, and make sure here that this panel, there are 2 holes at the bottom here, that they line up with these 2 holes. So that's what you have to make sure that, as you can see now, it's back in its place. So here you have to move over these two covers. You're gonna do the same on the passenger side. And once everything lines up, before clipping it in, you're gonna open here, and you're gonna see that these two holes are lining up too, and they're close to the metal, so the clips can go back in. So that tells you that everything is right, and now you can clamp the panel down and then clip it in here. Same on this side. Now these just go in straight back, and we're gonna start putting in the bolts. So first we're gonna start with the bracket. So first put in the top, slide the bracket in, and then do the bottom. Now you are also gonna put in these two bolts. Once the bolts have been tightened, you can put back these covers. Now we will do the same process on the passenger side. Do the same thing with the bracket. First do the top. Once it's in, you do the bottom. Two bolts. And we're gonna tighten everything. And now we can put back the cover. First do the bottom. Line everything up and then clip it in. And now you can put back the wind deflector. And the last thing are these two clips inside of this cubby. As we checked earlier, the holes line up, so it'll be easy to just put the clips back in. So we have assembled everything, and we also pair the iPhone wirelessly to the system. You can also pair your Android phone wirelessly to the system. You can easily switch back to the original Jaguar system by pressing the home button. And now you can enjoy either Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in your Jaguar F-Type. Again, this was a video for GTA Car Kits. I hope you liked it, and we'll see you next time.